Konkonko sanibonani babukeli sesifikile thina nentandokazi yohlelo leni ilungelo lakho. It's your right. Uyazi ke uMajali uShongololo kaZikhali is officially in the SABC 1 building. Mbukeli namhlanje ke sikhuluma phela ngokuthi incwadi phela yelifa le iyakwazi ukuthi noma isibhaliwe yasayindwa iphinde futhi ikwazi ukuthi iphinde iphikiswe. Kodwa ke into esifuna ukuyazi namhlanje ukuthi lokhu kwenzeka uma kunjani kanti umthetho uthini ngalokho. 0117146918 0117146919. Those are the magic numbers to call us in. And of course, consumer@sabc.co.za. That is our email address. Siyatholakala futhi ku Facebook. Mbukeli singabe sachitha isikhathi asingene shiqe odabeni lethu namhlanje. Challenging the validity of a will is not uncommon lana emzansi, but should your instinct then advise you to embark on such an exercise, be mindful of these various steps such as processes that are involved. A Carltonville woman is toying with that very idea after, of course, discovering that a will used to wind up her late partner's estate is not the official or correct one, according to her. Well, the worst part is that her name appears absolutely nowhere kuma documents. I guess it's udaba lakhe.
Ubuyelo ngosiyane ukhubeke emphefumulweni usukela mhla wathi washiywa ngowakwakhe. Ebehleli iminyaka bobabini esiwa evuka naye. Uthi ngekho namnye kwizalamane zakhe bebonisa inkathalo de wayekufihlwa.
Andizivi right ngoku ngoba ngoku ndizifumana ndiyi-victim kanti ukuqala kwami ukuthi ndibe lapha kwaku-right sivumelene nalo tata. Ngoku sekungena abantu endingabazi endibabona ngoku sekaswelekile ndingazange ndababona nangelanga ukuthi bazile bazosela iti or ikofu kodwa ngoku sebengabantu abamazi ukudlula mna.
Kulo minyaka bebobabini besenza izinto kunye okuquka uqhuba ishishini eli-bed and breakfast kulo mzi. Uthi kwelo xesha umyeni wakhe wenza imiyolelo izihlandlo ezithathu. Uthi uthe akusweleka kwenzeka umnqa.
Apho ndingathandi khona kungendlela iwill ekuyiyo akusiyiwill thina esiyaziyo ebeyenze ngo-2020 balande iwill ka-2016 of which kukhona iwill awayenzile ngo-2018. If iwill ka-2020 ingekho then eka-2016 is not longer working because it has been revoked by 2018 will. So ngoku kuza eka-2016 of which kulwa will mna I'm not andikho nabantwana bam.
Urhanela unyolo mfene kwaye utyhola umabi welifa ngelithi ininzi into ayaziyo. Uthi akhona amaphepha omyolelo owenziwa ngonyaka ka-2020.
If at an old will was submitted and the new will was not submitted, firstly the new will ubani oyiphethe. If igumuntu oyiphethe fanele ayoyisubmit another new will master so that umaster azoyi-assessa ukuthi iya-complya ne-Wills Act.
Umyelo ingcaphebe kwezamafa uWilliam Zibuko uthi ayonto ilula ukuthandabuza ubunyani bomyolelo. Kufuneka ube nobungqina obubambekayo obuveza ubuqhetseba oburhanelwayo. Ngokwezityholo zikaNkosiyane ukhona umyolelo onyamaleleyo. Umyolelo abeke ithemba kuwo. Kungenzeka ntoni ukuba kunokuthi lo myolelo ufihliwe okanye utshatyalalisiwe?
There are consequences because you cannot conceal i-will yomuntu oshonile. Ama-consequences akhona they amount to a criminal offense. I think on the Administration of Deceased Estate Act in a provision that deals with the concealment will and consequences. I think if I'm not mistaken you can even be sentenced to an imprisonment term of 7 years for concealment. Even to destroy will yomuntu it's a criminal offense as long as gonna prove it was in your possession and you concealed or you destroyed it, then you are liable.
Ingaba zeziphi ezinye izinto ekufuneka uzise iso xa unqwenela ukuphikisana ngokusesikweni nomyolelo okunyazisa ukwabiwa kwelifa? Uvisile Mdoda, Yilungelo Lakho.
Siyabonga kakhulu kwensizwa uvoyisile mdoda ngalo mbiko asididiyele wona. Mbukeli manje ke asamukele izivakashi zethu ukuthi phela sikwazi ukukhuluma kabanzi ngalolu daba lokuthi how do you officially contest a written or official or appearing to be official will. Asamukele ke ubaba uThafara Mokwani, yena ke he is an attorney and we are expecting Sis Penny Roberts Nyamazi ke we are waiting for her on Skype. Yena ke she is the master of the High Court. Mbukeli asamukele insizwa la studio. But Thafara, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you, Sis Alicia.
All right. But Thafara, simbonile umama lapha yana uyakhala uthi umkhwenyana wakhe oshonile had drafted a will in 2020 or 2018 if I'm not mistaken. But kuqhamuka abantu out of the blue now claiming to have another will drafted in 2016, of which we know ukuthi ilokhuzana umthetho already usuyasho lapho ukuthi obviously they cannot, the 1 year 2016 cannot be considered. So what do you think happened? Umama ngasizakala kanjani?
Umama makunje kumele approach i-High Court. Firstly, he must approach the Master of High Court. Then the Master of High Court, if they decline iwili lakhe, he must go to the High Court to make an application.
Okay.
To make the other will be declared null and void and the lakhe to be declared the valid will of the deceased.
But how is she going to prove that, Thafara? Because, I mean, if these people are pretty adamant, Uguti, this will is the final will and testament of the deceased, and in Naingapa, she's claiming, Uguti, she has kids and she was partners with the deceased. And I actually understand, Uguti, she still needs to prove, Uguti, she was married to the individual that was actually deceased. So, does she just go to the High Court and say, I want an application to contest the will? On what grounds?
Right, why it is right now, it depends who drafted the will lakhe. If it was drafted properly by a proper attorney, kumele ibe ne revocation clause. Lay clause later on, the other wills that were written before, they are now null and void, and this is now the latest will.
Okay.
Therefore, ia cancela wonke ama will previously. So, but then it becomes so tricky if somebody just does a will and there's no revocation clause. In other words, you're only cancelling the other wills that came previously. You're just writing a new will. Then it becomes very challenging. You leave it up to the judge to decide. But usually that's why they are encouraged to go to a proper lawyer or a trust companies to write a proper will. Maupali will, the first thing is the revocation clause. This will is 2020. I'm revoking all the other wills that the person might have written previously.
And who does that? Who has the responsibility to do that, Thafara? Because we know, I mean, in South Africa, let's talk as South Africans. As is into their secrets, we tati wili I beg a bank or wherever they want to, and these things you only find out about them kauntu is deceased.
That's where the most challenge is, because as Africans mostly we don't even believe ukuthi kumele sitshela abantu ukuthi ngibhali will.
Exactly,
because
bazokubulala.
And umuntu uzocabanga ukuthi bona mhlawumbe angatshela abantu these days are almost numbered.
Exactly.
But in any event, so there's a problem now because ama will ayavela after umuntu angasekho. So now it becomes very challenging. This person is no longer there, but there are wills here.
So who needs to write or put in a provision for that revocation clause? Is it the drafter of the will, the person who drafted the will, or in other words, the person who's saying these are my assets, this is what I want? So uzoti, this is the last will on that will. What happens if he writes that one in 2016 and then writes another one in 2017 and then doesn't say ukuthi kune revocation clause in those two?
Then it becomes challenging. That's why abantu amelanga bahambe yothenga ama will eCNA. They must go to a proper lawyer, ama advocates and abantu bemthetho bambhalele kahle iwill. Lizoba ne will revocation clause. Revocation clause is ukuthi I cancel all the other wills. And this 2021 one is my last will.
Okay.
Therefore, if kungaqhamuka iwill ka 2012, uzothi look, I've done a revocation clause. My latest will is 2021.
Okay, but uma uzoyenza kanjani, because she's not, well, obviously she's not the drafter or the author of that will. How can she apply in court for irrevocation clause to say that hers is the latest one? And how does she prove that?
They will be dated. So the umama must again look for somebody with legal knowledge and check through those wills properly. Then they will be dated, obviously. The one that is dated the latest usually is the one that is supposed to be upheld by the courts. But then it comes back to the same question that I'm raising, revocation clause. Because amanyama will foot are different. Sometimes 2016 is dealing with other assets. 21 is dealing with other assets. Then it can be then two wills. So, but if they're dealing with the same assets, usually the court will consider the latest one. But then it was going to be better if there's a revocation clause. It revokes other wills. But if there's no revocation clause, then you have to go to court and he convinced the court to look, the latest will is this one. And most of the judges are going to give umama a decision in this way.
Hey, that word convince the court, Baba, like, isebenza kanjani? I mean, let's talk about that process of basically going to court and saying that, okokuqala nje, I want to trump all the other wills or revoke all the other wills. This is the legitimate one and the latest one. When you don't have anything that is supporting to that matter, maybe your deceased partner or husband or whatever did not make any provisions for you to go uhambe uyolokhuza uyocontesta lo will, because I mean, how could you have, or he or she or whoever have known ukuthi kuzocontestwa le will upon their passing?
I think the challenge with going to court is that there's a principle at law. Whoever alleges must prove.
Okay.
So now, in other words, you that says that this will is not proper, you must prove.
Okay.
And sometimes you discover that the hands are always tied because sometimes you don't have enough proof. I was even see mizwa in court, or a feeling, or I'm feeling my spirit telling me this. There's nothing like that. You must prove your case. So sometimes you might know this is not it, but how do you prove it? I've got instances even in offices when somebody comes. The deceased was critically ill, embedded somewhere, But how do you prove that we get was he so sick that he could not write a will? And then that's a medical question. You must bring in a utokotel. Utokotel, does he want to go in stand and being tortured by the attorneys the whole day trial? He doesn't want. So utokotel also, no, I'm not writing anything. Then when that happens, it means you don't have evidence. But deep down in your heart, you'll be knowing. Umkwenyana was so sick that he wouldn't do this will.
So manje uzolahlekelwa ilokhuzana all because you couldn't prove ukuthi, and even though it's valid, and Tafara, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you can prove, you can't prove, you can't have a case. Even if you're unopposed, the judge will ask you questions. Why do you say he was sick? Give us medical proof. Give us a letter from the doctor. What kind of a doctor will write you a letter? They know that the lawyers in that book say, go in the witness box, let's cross-examine you. Leave your surgery somewhere in Soweto or in Albertine, go to court and testify the whole day. They won't do that. Even if they knew who deceased, they will not go to do that. I've done that practically and they refused. Refused. I can't write that for you.
Wow, kunzima ngempela mbukeli. Let's really take a quick ad break ngempela siyabuya emva kaloku, because uyangibona, I'm not even happy about this because we are not getting anywhere. 011-714-6918, 714-6919, consumer@sabc.co.za. Those are the magic contact details. Siyabuya emva kwaleli khefu. Bukeli, welcome back. Namhlanje ke sixoxa ngama wills ukuthi uma wena ufuna ukuphikisa leyo ncwadi ye will noma uzithola usesimeni lapho abantu obaziyo noma ungabazi sebeqhamuka bezophikisa leyo will, wena, what are your legal rights? 011-714-6918, 714-6919, consumer@sabc.co.za. ungasithola futhi ku Facebook. My guest today, Ubaba Tafara Mokwani, he's an attorney, and of course we are awaiting Master of the High Court Nyamazo Sis Penny Roberts. She's joining us via Skype, but you can give us comments live as we proceed. So, Babu Tafara, let's talk about this now. What do courts generally look at? Maybe decide on such matters where a will is being contested. Number one, obviously, we've been talking about it. Somebody needs to provide evidence, and then.
Right. The issue when a will complies with a Wills Act, that means if it was signed in the presence of two witnesses and in the presence of the testator or testatress, will, that will is accepted naturally by the masters.
Okay.
So master doesn't know these people, they signed in the presence of each other. That information doesn't know. Master doesn't know other things, but they accept a will based on the face of it.
Okay.
That's the challenge. And master, once they accept a will, you can't go back to the masters. But deal. It's legal language, but they are factors official. You can't go back to them again. So now you have to go and look for a lawyer.
Okay.
And a high court application doesn't come cheap. You are talking about a deposit, maybe 40,000 rands. Most, if the attorney is very cheap, maybe 20,000 rands. Then if you don't have that man, unfortunately, even if somebody has forged, it has to go. You can't do anything about it. Master, his hands are tied. So now the challenge is that you have to go to high court. When you go to high court also, you don't also go just in court. You can't. You must bring a proper evidence. Medical. ngesikhathi lesi bathi khona kwenzekele iwill kwenziwe iwill I mean you must provide the evidence ukuthi umuntu ubeke egula and you can't just say ukuthi khona abeke egula beke esibhedlela beke eJoburg hospital kumele kube nedokotela ukuthi khona lo muntu lo ngimbhekile ngesikhathi lesi he could not even do a will. That report must clear from the doctor. Mawuthi forgery must go and look for experts bama handwriting ba testify babhale ukuthi khona this was forgery. So those are some of the reasons that people contest ama wills. Signatures ukuthi beke egula, some they use ama feelings imizwa as I said initially. There's no way one can disinherit me. Mama bhaleli estate yakhe yonganike si girlfriend mina ngkhona. And it doesn't work like that. You must have proper evidence.
Let's now backtrack a little bit, maybe, Baba Mukwani. Let's talk about the drafting of a will that is legally acceptable. Yini exoting ukuthi abantu ababuka manje ukuthi so that they don't find themselves in disputes as fananale where they have like very little chances of winning, particularly if they don't have evidence ukuthi they are the rightful, they're in possession of the right will. So kusebenzwa kanjani? How can one draft a legally acceptable will? Yiziphi izinto umaster azothi meyibuka abone ukuthi yazini la there is no way that this will is forged?
Right, umuntu ma drafti will ababukile emakhaya, you must go to a lawyer or an advocate or ama companies njenge obo Absa Trust, FNB Trust and other BOE Trust. Mele ukubhalele kahle i-will. The first thing that must happen with the will is that there must be a signature of umuntu ubhale will, the testator or testatress ngesilungu. Then also kumele kube nama two committed witnesses that must sign the will with you, the testator, at the same time. And lama witness lawa they should not be beneficiaries.
Okay.
So I can't say nyanikeza Alicia amafawami, then Alicia is also a beneficiary
one of the, yes,
of the signatories,
okay,
as witnesses. Then that disqualifies Alicia, unless if Alicia was going to qualify in terms of the Inter-Succession Act. Amanye amagama, if umuntu nengane zifo abize two ingane ukuthi sign in this will, if those children they get what they were supposed to get, if there was no will anyway, they will get accepted. But in the ordinary, you don't make a witness to become also an heir. So a witness and heir, they're two different people. So you look for strangers to come and sign that will as witnesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then ihlala up leyo will.
I-will then ungahlala nalo wena umnikazi will somewhere safe, but the chance that they're going to be lost are high. Or lihlala kummeli wakho. You have a lawyer, give him that will, must look it up in the safe.
Okay, laba bangenawo ama-lawyer, the ones who can't afford to go to lawyers and these other places, this is mentioned. Maybe somebody who doesn't have a lot of assets, just wants to keep it in the most minimal way, but he wants to have a written consent from yena ukuthi lalela, this is how I want whatever I have divided. Angenza njani? Ngakhona ukuyibhala ifake phansi kwamatrasi, then injani leyo will the master of the High Court accept it even though mhlawumbe ayinawo lawo ama-signatories awu-2 ama-witnesses? How does that happen?
The problem of that issue as well, you will be forced to go again a High Court.
Okay.
Because master angati no, I can't accept it. You have to take it to the High Court to force master I'll accept the will.
Kanjani?
Master angabona ukuthi kona it's not comply with the Wills Act. For instance, akula ma-signatures. For instance, akula original copy. Akula original nama copies kuphela. All those things, it makes the masters to say, look, we can't accept this will. Therefore, you as the beneficiaries, you are forced to go to court. Still, you're in the same problem. So it's not that expensive to do a will. Avukile market, they must know that. It's not very expensive. You can do a will actually 2.5. Which is not much. You can do a will 2.5. You can do a will, actually, some people they do the will even as less as 1.5. So it's cheaper to do a proper will, to a proper attorney, than to leave your your children, to leave whoever, your partners, to fight for that will at High Court at very high amount of money. It's just 2.5 at most. And if you can negotiate with a lawyer, can do it for you at a better price than that. So it's good for you to go for a proper lawyer, irons waiting and funny.
But Tafar, I mean, talking about that original will, Uguti, when it's taken to the master of the High Court, it needs to be the original copy. How does that happen? Because like we said, these things are done in secrecy in our culture. And I don't think it's possible to see a will before the author actually dies. It's not like you can compel Lomunto Pali will go say when our vessel will konangzobon go to Fagin lap. Because it's, you know, Umuntuans are out of their own you know what, I'm drafting this will because this is what I want to happen once I'm deceased. So they don't have to show anybody that will. We understand. So how would I then get hold of the original copy as a beneficiary to prove to the Master of the High Court, ukuthi indeed, this is the proper will, the legal will?
Yabo, what usually happens is that abantu abaningi, if unommeli, ungashona, the family should approach that lawyer to confirm whether there's a will or not. If it was bank, Absa Bank, Standard Bank, usually you have to go there and confirm as well. Because as you said, seriously, it will usually, it's a secret, imfihlo. Ngoba abantu omnyama don't believe ukuthi kunamele bahambe tshela abantu ukuthi kune will lapha. So imfihlo lo, because the top secret usually you have to go to the lawyers, you have to go to ama banks, wherever the person was banking. You might get yourself an original. But when that original is lost, still Masters doesn't accept a copy.
Okay.
It's original.
All right. Okay, we do have Sis Penny Roberts on the line. Sis Penny, I'm just greeting you very quickly, but Sitata break in Togazi. Welcome to the show. Sis Penny Roberts? All right, she's not on the line.
Hi, Alicia.
Hi, Sis Penny. Thank you so much for joining us. Sizokhuluma nawe after the break, Sisine.
Okay.
All
sure.
right. Mbukela
Thank
ungasishayela ke ucingo 01171469118 7146919 consumer@sabc.co.za. Siyabuya emva kwekhefu. Mbukeli namhlanje sikhuluma phela ngokuphikiswa kwezincwadi zamafa mangabe wena uphethe original noma kufika abanye abantu bazothi wena lo iphethe akuyona original uthini umthetho ngaloko futhi wena ke iziphi inyathelo ongayithatha ngaloko 01171469118 7146919 consumer@sabc.co.za sikhona futhi on Facebook. My guest today uButafara Mokwani, who's an attorney, no Sis Penny Roberts, who is the Master of the High Court. She's joining us on the hybrid manje. Sis Penny, maybe let's just start with this with you. Sifuna ukuzwa kuwena, I mean from a Master of the High Court perspective, sasikhulumile lana no Butafara, and we were talking about this thing, and I've mentioned this to you before, ukuthi izinto lezi thina ngesintu, it's a secretive thing. So abantu abaningi maybe draft ama will, you never know about it up until umuntu azashone. So when they come to you nama will as a Master of the High Court, iziphi izinto ozibhekayo to verify ukuthi this is actually the legally acceptable will? Sis Penny? All
Hello.
right. Yes, Sis Penny.
Ngiyangizwa?
Yes, ngiyakuzwa love. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, Sis Alicia, ngiyabonga. From the master's point of view, besicela ukuthi sithi umqoka kakhulu ukuthi abantu bakhulume mabayenza ama-will, because lento le yemfihlo yiyo esibonayo at the end of the day abantu mabeza kithi ukuthi umufi ushiye ilona i-will bebangazi and uthole ukuthi bayalo. Yabona. So thina siwu-Master of the High Court, umthetho uthi umuntu makashona ashiye i-will, umuntu lo ophethe i-will yakamufi kumele ayilethe ku-Master of the High Court, thina sizoyihlola ukuthi iyahambisana nangomthetho. So sizobheka ukuthi leyo will isayiniwe, angisho umuntu omunye nomunye oshonayo asimazi siwu-Master of the High Court. So umuntu oyenze i-will kumele ayisayine, and then kube nabafakazi bayi-2 nabo basayine leyo will. If uyisayine ngokuyenza kwesithupha or uyenze imark, kumele ke kube ne-certificate esiphuma ku-Commissioner of Oaths ukuthi leyo imark or isithupha, leso sithupha siyenziwe uloyo muntu, and then ke naye usatisfied ukuthi iyenziwe kanjalo. So thina sizoyibheka on the face of it ukuthi leyo will i-comply nomthetho we-Wills Act. My complier siwu-Master of the High Court kumele siyi-register ne, and then siyayi-register siyi-accept ukuthi ihambelana naloyo mthetho. Should kube nama-disputes ukuthi abantu bathi akusiyi yi-will yakamufi, for example bazathi ukuthi akusiyi signature yakamufi, kumele ba-approach i-High Court ukuthi i-High Court ujudge azokwazi ukuthi ayenze a-decide on the validity yaleyo will.
All right. And then in your view, when is Penny, like, do you think it's actually even advisable for abantu to go and contest a will, particularly if they don't have a solid proof ukuthi either of the wills that have been presented is actually the legal one?
Kumele kube nama grounds ukuthi bayi-contesta based on what?
Okay.
Ngishilo umzekelo oyi-1 ukuthi bazawuthi mhlawumbe akusiyi will kamufi. Uyayibona? Ayisayinwanga nguye. And then it could be ukuthi nomthetho uyak-restricta ne. Let's say uye wayenza wasayina i-will as a witness as umfakazi kuleyo will. And then in terms of the will ngokomthetho ngo-Wills Act akumelanga ukuthi uthole impahla zikamufi. Uyayibona? So uthole ukuthi kunomuntu kunama-technicalities like that. So umuntu owaziyo umthetho angayi-contesta ukuthi but lo muntu osayine i-will ngokomthetho akamelanga ukuthi ayenze athole impahla zikamufi. So kumele kube nama-valid grounds yokuthi umuntu athathe leyo will ayo-contesta e-court. Another thing ukuthi kungaba ukuthi ilona i-original will it's missing ayikho abayitholi bane-copy ne. So mabane-copy kanjalo ke bangakwazi uku-applyela e-court ukuthi bacele i-court ukuthi bathole i-declaratory order yokuthi umaster of the high court accepte leyo copy of the will of the deceased ukuthi uhlelo loku-administra i-estate lohambe kuya ngaleyo will.
Okay, all right, so let's hold it there for now, Sis Penny. Let's take our first caller all the way from KwaZulu-Natal. Manibangakit, Mam Hlongwane on the line. Sakwamukela Ntokazi. Mam Hlongwane? All right, it seems like we are experiencing a bit of technical difficulties with our lines, but I'm sure you can keep trying. Those numbers are live, 011-714-6918, 714-6919. Sis Penny, let's just say, for instance, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this happen a lot. If, let's say, the author of said will, mhlampe ushone before they had a chance to maybe draft a new will, in terms of Ilokuzani Succession Act, then uthini umthetho, let's say this person has abantwana basha, he's got a new wife, he's got kids, he's got a new estate altogether, he's got other new assets. Umthetho uthini lapho? Can they then be able to say, okay, let's look at that will le abayilethile laba yango 2016 and then laba bay contest out because they were not included in there, but they feel that they should be part of this will. Kumele benze njani? Bazokhona ukuthi beze kunina bathole usizo. And how would that process then unfold? Okay, Sis Penny, before you answer that, Astatu Mam Hlongwane, I hear she's back on the line. Mam Hlongwane?
Yebo njani ma?
Ngiyaphila Ntokazi kunjani?
Ngiyaphila sis.
Ngiyaphila Ntokazi, singakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
Umbuzo wami wengane yami bekuwukuthi ene. Umbuzo wami bekuwukuthi ene. Makuthi ene iwili nginayo.
Yes. Ngicela wehlise TV Mam Hlongwane.
Okay, sengisukile kuyona.
Okay, sanda sami qhubeka.
Iwili nginayo but iwili yami ikummeli wami.
Yes.
And endlini akekho umuntu one information yokuthi iwili yami ikummeli abamazi kwaloyo mmeli loyo since kufanele kube into econfidential ngithi.
Yes.
And then bayithola kanjani ukuthi ene iwili yami mina ngiyigcine kummeli mawukuthi mina sengishonile.
Yazi umbuzo omuhle lo, ngiyabonga kakhulu Mam Hlongwane. Intombi yangakithi eThekwini Butafar. I think I asked this earlier on, but not ngalendlela ayibuza ngayo Mam Hlongwane ukuthi yes, I have a will, I've drafted it njengoba besishilo ukuthi imfihlo yami. Nobody knows about this will in the house. How do they then even know when I've died, even if there is no contestation from offspring from other areas that nobody was aware of?
Mam Hlongwane, I think le inkinga umele achele one of the trusted isihlobo.
Why actually law ukuthi in the event of my death you notify uAlisha or uTafara or whoever?
Inkinga njengi lawyer you're not deprived to details of company. Inkinga ayenzi will 2016.
Yeah.
Ubaba wakho nawashona 2016, they only came to me 2019. Yabonga was. Ngoba ilawyer leli client le mhlambe iphuma eDefton. You don't go there ubavakatshela every day. Kumele bakutshele bona ukuthi ubaba ushonile, umama ushonile. So I think it's very wise ukuthi kona atshele one of the family members ukuthi mangashona ukhona ummeli uthi angugumede ukuphi inamba yakhe nansi. Ngashona cela iqhumane naye. Than ukuthi usidulele nje ngoba njenge lawyer sometimes uyathula. And kumele ukhumbule ngokwemthetho section 7 of the Administration Act ithi yona kumele uyihambise iwill as quickly as possible. So kungayenzakala ukuthi kokhona uyashona 2021 then until 2023 iwill ayikahambe masters. Masters une every right to say ukuthi this will asikwazi ukusifa.
Abakwazi ukuaccept, yeah, that makes
so
sense.
at the day you are forced again ukuthi uhambe kuphi high court. So umama i-solution yakhe kumele atshele one of the family members ukuthi kokhona iwill yami likhona sendaweni enje. So that mayeshona somebody can pick up their phone bafonele ilawyer.
Mamhlongwane ngiyathemba uyezwa lapho Ntokazi ukuthi hayi kuyasho ukuthi hey siyasaba impela ukuthi labantu phela bazosimba ngamageja meke sabatshela sinama will but ke thola lo mthembayo even if umuntu wakamakhelwaneke ozokwazi ukuthi in the event yokuthi uyashona or kwenzeka something kuwena bazi ukuthi abantu endlini bazokhuluma nobani. Mbukeli, we coming back shortly after this break ungayindawo. Are you contesting a will? Is your will that you have when being contested? Mele wenze njani 011-714-6918-714-6919. consumer@sabc.co.za. My guest today, Ms. Penny Roberts, Master of the High Court, alongside Insizwa Engumeli Butafara Mokwani. He is right here in studio with me. Uyasiza ke ngokuthi iprocess uma ke usucontesta leyo will yini ekumele uyenze. Sis Penny, let's go back to that question ebengikubuza yona ukuthi let's say the author of the will dies before amende i-will, and then nangu usenomfazi omusha, he's got kids, he's got all new assets altogether, mara the will that he had update. Is there any leeway for the new family now to come and say yazini sicela nathi ukuthi nisiconsiderishe because they are children kunama costs anje kanje? How does that happen if it does? Sis Penny?
Oh, sorry. Nyangizwa?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. So ngithi what happens ukuthi kuwin umuntu uzobhala ukuthi I hereby revoke all previous wills, ne? Thina sizobheka ke ukuthi okay ushone nini idate yaleyo will ithini, and if azange I amend, unfortunately if leyo will complies ngama formalities we Wills Act, so Master of the High Court sizoyi register accept abantu laba afuna ukuyicontesta ukuthi umufi azange abafake kuleyo will bangayicontesta leyo will e-High Court provided ukuthi babonisa ukuthi kunenhloso yakamufi ukuthi nabo bangathola impahla ezikamufi. So kubalulekile kakhulu if isimo si change emntwini, like mhlawumbe uyashada or uyadivorce nabantwana abanye amende iwill asaphila. Otherwise if azange yenza kanjalo leyo will ayishiye before kuzoba yiyo le ezohambisa uhlelo loku-administra i-estate.
Okay.
Unless ke bayisa e-High Court and then kube nobufakazi laba i-court, then uMaster of the High Court thina sizoba guided nge-court order ukuthi i-court order ithini.
Okay. And then Sis Penny, while we're there, while that process, let's say hlampe iwill contest, or the minute you become aware as a Master of the High Court ukuthi this will is currently being contested, does it actually affect the administration or the execution of the will that you had originally in your possession?
Yes,
it stops everything. So kuma yonke into akukhishwa estate akudividwa lutho.
Yes, and uthole ukuthi ithatha isikhathi nase-court, angisho kuba nama-postponement ethatha neminyaka, ngiyayibona. So kubalulekile ukuthi umuntu amende iwill isikhathi sasekhona ukuthi at least because makasashonile leyo will izomkhulumela, ngiyabona.
Okay, but Tafara, I mean, let's talk about this. The costs involved. I mean, you had mentioned Uguti, it varies per lawyer or per institution that you go to. I mean, I think go October there was a Wills month, if I'm not mistaken. There were certain organizations that say iza uzo drafta iwili mahala in. But I mean, a lot of people don't trust in those processes, so ba opta to go to lawyers. Laba banayo imali. So is there once off fee abanye bathi hey mara le law ithe kumele ngithenge ipolicy in order for me ukuthi angilokhuzele angibekele le will lana office lami to communicate with the master of the High Court or the family upon the death of the author of the will?
Okay. What happens is that ukubhali will, it differs from one law firm to another law firm. But generally, it's not that expensive. I don't think we should pay. I'm a lawyer, I'm thinking of shares not more than 2.5.
Okay.
You can't pay more. It's just drafting will. It's a simple page, 2 or 3 pages.
And lo muntu ukutshela ukuthi ufunani uyabhala or angafika yena eseyidraftile iwill ukuthi ngifuna ukuthi nokuthi wena ke njengommeli ngicela ukuthi nanka ama witnesses sebesayinile ngicela ukuthi wena njengommeli if anything happens to me iwill ikhona la ekhaya ngizobazisa abantu ekhaya ukuthi kune will at Mukwani attorneys.
Kunjalo vele. I-will drafting, the process is not that expensive. It's very cheap. And i-lawyer kumele likugcinele i-will yakho for free.
Okay.
And akumelanga ubhadale any other cost for
so
that.
lama police abasuke bethi ngesigcinele ilokhuzana kumele urefuse and just go to another one.
Uhambe kulinye lawyer.
Okay.
Vele i-lawyer lakho kumele ikusize kahle ngendlela efanele.
Okay. All right. Let's take uGranny all the way from Pretoria. Granny, good afternoon. Kunjani? Singakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
Ngiyaphila kunjani?
Ngiyaphila Granny. Singakusiza kanjani Ntokazi?
Ngiyaphila ngila ePretoria ngifuna ukubuza ukuthi if umuntu wenze iwill and then labantu abandisile ukuthi bazoba ngama beneficiary wakhe oyi-1 wabo uyambulala mhlambe lo muntu lo oyenze le will usebenza kanjani ngayiwill enjani?
Okay. Yo, hey kunzima Granny, kunzima ngempela. Yikho nje sithi lezi zinto bazenza ngesecret. Okay Granny, sicela ulalele lapho kumabona kude wakho. Putsafara.
Siyabonga Granny. Hayi, ngokwemthetho awuvunyelwa ukuthi uthathe over amafa of somebody that you've killed. So ungabulala umuntu as long une evidence ukuthi lo muntu ubulala umuntu is not supposed to get even R1. So ungabulala umuntu usually ama police azobhala ku police station ukuthi kona ubulala ngozibani bani bamdubulile kumbe so then that person could not get any R1. Even makune will lo muntu akatholi lutho.
Uyajele lo muntu.
Uyajele straight. Yeah.
And then what happens to the will if he was the beneficiary there, or like let's say the sole beneficiary? Will then kuzoba uSispenny will have to intervene as a master of the High Court or kwenzakalani?
If it was the only will ever deceased, that means it goes in terms of intestate. So dinga isihlobo zakhe esaseduze, abantwana, unkosikazi, abazali, whoever is nearest.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise akusena will makunjalo. Nabo boSispenny masters makungabhala ku death certificate unnatural. Ukuthi umuntu lo akagulanga, ushone unnatural. Bazodinga i-postmortem, bazodinga inquest from amaphoyisa izokhuluma ukuthi kona lo muntu lo ushone unnatural. What is the real cause of death? So before they get a report, inquest or postmortem, appoint next.
Okay.
That will they put aside until they get ukuthi kona lo muntu lo ubhalwe unnatural kwenzakaleni.
Okay.
Uthijole ngubani?
All right. Okay, uyezwa ke Granny lapho uthi kuthiwa meke wabulala nje umuntu kumele niprove angithi kuba nama investigation nani ukuthi nizwe phela ukuthi kuprove ukuthi lo muntu umbulele and umbulalela ukuthi because uyazi ukuthi uyibeneficiary. Let's take our final ad break. Yo, siyashesha isikhathi when we're having fun. We're back shortly after this. It is our final segment. But you can quickly try and call us. There, my guest still Miss Penny Roberts, Master of the High Court, Nomeli Utafara Mokwani. Mrs. Penny, maybe just in closing from your side, what are some of the intricate things that Abantu need to be aware of, particularly when it comes to, number one, we draft a law will, the safekeeping of that will, and the validity of that will. Those three things is.
Ngiyabonga. Kumele leyo will ibe ibhalwe phansi. It must be in writing and
typed or handwritten kanjani Ntokazi?
Yes, typed or typed and printed out, not nje typed on the computer or laptop, but not printed out. It must
Yes.
Isignwe umuntu oyenza i-will nama-witnesses babe khona bonke at the same time so that ukuthi if kuba ne-dispute ne ezo-arise out of that will mabaya e-court at least bazonikeza ngobufakazi ukuthi basayine leyo will ithini leyo will ne-commissioner of oaths bekhona and then iyenza ukuthi if leyo matter kumele iye enkantolo e-high court at least bazakwazi ukuthi bakhulume ke and then umuntu osayina i-will kumele ayisayine each page yaleyo will nalo muntu amcelile ukuthi ayisayine ne kumele ayibhale phansi ne and then ayenze sure ukuthi labantu laba babhala leyo will ba witnessa leyo will are not nominated as beneficiaries in terms of that will because bazoba disqualified from inheriting ne kuya ngomthetho we-Wills Act.
Okay.
And then mase bayenzile ke umaster of the high court will iza kumaster of the high court uma umuntu ashonile. So they have to ensure safekeeping yaleyo will whether a bank or kuma lawyers wabo or anywhere in a safe somewhere mara batshele abantu ukuthi should they pass on should bashone leyo will bazoyithola kuphi.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Okay. Siyabonga kakhulu Ntokazi for that. Now, Babu Tafar, let's talk about this. We're still talking on the costs and so forth, but there's something I think that we failed to mention. Ummeli mangithi ngiyobeka kuyena i-will, it doesn't necessarily mean ngifuna kuba uyena ozobe executor of that will, does it?
Kunjalo. Uma uhamba kummeli uyamtshela ukuthi kumele ayenzeni.
Okay.
Ngathi kumele abhale i-will uzobhala i-will.
Okay.
Ungathi kumele abe ngu-executor uyamtshela nawe ukuthi hayi ngifuna abe ngu-executor.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean automatically ukuthi because I'm the lawyer who did the will therefore kube yimi uthi-executor. No. I can just do the will umunye umuntu abe ngu-executor.
Ikhethwa kanjani i-executor? Ikhethwa i-author of the will or who decides?
I-author of the will.
Okay.
Kumele decide thole umuntu amthembayo ukuthi uzoveza isifiso zakhe then ambhale lapho ukuthi uzoba ngu-executor.
Okay.
Anybody amthembayo. Ngakhona abanye abathembakala.
And then can it be those beneficiaries? Because we heard if you're a beneficiary, then you can't be a signatory or a witness, kanjan. But can you then be an executor if you're a beneficiary of that will?
Yes, you can be an executor and also a beneficiary of a will.
But you can't be a witness
and be a beneficiary.
Okay.
But you can be an executor and also a beneficiary of a will.
Okay.
You can. It's
all
allowed.
Right. All right, and then let's say if abantu they're not happy with the process that you are executing ama wishes amufi, what happens then? Can they stop the process by stoppa kanjani? Do they find an alternative executor? Does that even happen?
Executor is removed in terms of section 54
okay.
of the Administration Act 1965. It lists a lot of things lapha.
On how to remove the executor. Okay, first, so you need to provide proof yokuthi unfair or he's taking sides, kanjani or committing fraud. Okay.
All those things. So you need to firstly can be removed by the master. Kuna reasons ukuthi master ukukhipha kanjani.
Okay.
Or sometimes you're not complying with work. I-will iregistrwe February 2020.
Master of the High Court, asizosisipheni nimsusa kanjani executor. Let's say there's a complaint that arises from either parties, abama beneficiaries of this will, and then they feel ukuthi aggrieved ukuthi this person is not necessarily doing ama wishes or move. How do you guys intervene njengobesho uButafar?
Okay, what happens ukuthi sizoyithola leyo complaint masithola sizoyithumela ku-executor lo sim-appointile ukuthi makachaze kahle ukuthi kuyenzakalani. From there sithola leyo response yakhe siyibheke ukuthi iyahambelana nalo hlelo le-Administration of Estates Act kuya ngaloyo mthetho. And then if sibona ukuthi hayi akayenzi ngalelo hlelo ke sithi asinikeze ama-reasons ukuthi why can't sim-remove kuleyo matter.
Okay.
Ne?
All right.
Yes, and then sithatha from there.
Okay, siyabonga Ntokazi. Very quickly, Butafara, How long after a death can a will then be contested? Angithi sishilo ukuthi kunama time prescripts ukuthi when it needs to be submitted. Is there now isikhathi esisho ukuthi after a certain amount of time, let's say a will was almost at that point of execution, Master of the High Court to say tholile we receive, and then suddenly just maybe a day before execute iqala ikhipha izinto sekufika abanye bathi hey na kunathi nanka ama document ubaba wethu lo kanjani kanjani.
I-will kumele uyi-contest as quickly as possible ngoba uma ungayi-contestanga lo muntu lo executor ne-beneficiaries
They can go ahead.
They can go ahead bathathe izinto bathengise.
And then there's nothing you can do afterwards.
It's going to be difficult. Na abazothi kona thina siyenze because umaster uyivumile i-will yethu sayenza ngokwemthetho asiyenzanga any fraud ayikho into zoyenza. Because even if it's forged they will allege ukuthi kona angifojanga.
Okay.
Ngithole eCameron.
Okay. Tafara, let's leave it there. Thank you so much. You suspending ngiyabonga kakhulu Ntokazi mina ngizoforward ama queries kunina because guys I really don't understand ukuthi kanti umthetho, it really feels like umthetho is not on either side of anybody here. It's just a matter of ukuthi who brought which will, and then the Master of the High Court or the courts will then have to decide. So bantu bakithi ngiyaqhuquzela ngempela ukuthi make your intentions very clear and nenze sure ukuthi la ubeka khona lo will yakho abantu ekhaya bayazi or lo muntu oyibeka kuyona uyazi ukuthi okay sharp mase kubheda kuzoba kanje kanje. Somebody, you must trust somebody life in noma oyi1 noma ugogo somewhere. Mbukeli silibeka lapho uhlelo. Thank you so much for joining us. Sonithola next week with another live consumer affairs discussion from myself uAlisha Mangculo swakajali. Ngithi nisale kahle babukele emakhaya. Bye bye.
Yilungelo